Yes, now we are. Lovely. And we are live. All right. So, hello, everyone who are watching us live or recording. Welcome, Ghadeer. Thank you so much for accepting to have a conversation today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So let's start with a brief introduction of Ghadeer Ruwaishedi, and then we'll engage in a conversation. So Ghadeer is a biomedical. She defines herself on LinkedIn, if you stalk her, as a biomedical engineering student and an enthusiast in digital health and healthcare innovation. She talks about female in tech, AI ethics, digital health, AI in healthcare, and healthcare innovation. Ghadeer speaks Arabic and English, which gives a little bit of a hint about her heritage. She's currently a machine learning researcher at Swinburne University. She's working on a research project to build a new systematic artificial intelligence program using intricate machine learning classification and regression algorithms to predict heart disease. So we had a little bit of a chat while waiting to go live, and I know that this has been slightly upgraded. So I'll hand over to Gadi to tell us a little bit more about the project that she's working on, and also tell us about her, in a briefly, in a nutshell, her career journey and her process to become a machine learning researcher today.
Thank you so much, Nathalie. Well, I'm Ghadeer. I'm a student still in my final year of biomedical engineering. I'm doing my bachelor's. My journey has been going through like the bachelor's degree, and I've been lucky to be studying in the best universities such as Monash and Swinburne. And it took me a while to understand the value of becoming a biomedical engineer. Um, well, throughout my journey, I've been doing a lot of data aside from my degree. So I work with data. I worked as a data entry. I worked as a data clerk. I worked multiple jobs as a data person. I also taught data analytics students their like statistics and like data driven subjects. So I found myself more passionate in the data science, data analytics kind of sector. So I decided to do a minor in that, and then that led me to understand more about machine learning, more about deep learning, and then this whole era came out where Chat GPT came out and everything. So it was kind of like a motive to keep understanding more about what how to deal with data and how to understand how to segregate data and all of that. So then when my final year project came in, as engineering students there must be a final year project, and I took that to the next level and I started doing it like professionally, and I'm on my way to actually publishing my paper, hopefully. It's a paper that talks about it's a research that talks about um, uh, deeper knowledge of heart disease. So it's a preventative kind of machine or tool that diagnoses early on coronary artery diseases, and it's kind of like more innovative because I've interacted with deeper knowledge into what kind of arteries are kind of narrowing. So it's basically like the narrowing of the heart. So it just detects that from like ECGs and echos instead of like going to invasive methods which are given now in hospitals. So these are kind of like preventative and kind of like early on, so they don't have to go through invasive like patients don't have to go through invasive kind of procedures to detect whether they have this disease or not. So actually, what inspired me to do this is because my dad had has this problem, and it's a problem that occurs over many years. Actually, it's like prolonged disease. It takes a really long time for it to actually accumulate and then clog the artery completely to come up with this disease, and then the heart kind of either fails or starts to be weak. So my dad has had this problem since a long time, but he never knew. And then one day he just felt bad and went to the hospital, and he had a stroke because of because there was no like actual preventative or diagnosis to this kind of disease. They would just check his heart and they would be like, yeah, you're good, go home. But then when it actually happens, then they have to intervene and do the whole surgery and all of that. So these kinds of tools, like, they can help people detect and like prevent this overall from the first stages, where they don't have to actually go through surgery and go through invasive techniques to like remove this, and then it will actually affect the heart even more, and then it will actually make it harder for a person to recover after that, obviously. And it's disheartening for everyone, like their families, the person, it's himself. So yeah, this kind of like gave me a motive to work on this kind of project, where I want to like be a part of eliminating or like kind of preventing this kind of disease. So yeah, this is my journey. Now it's more into understanding how to remove biases, how to I'm so sorry, the line cut. Um, so yeah, it's kind of like a more modern way to prevent these diseases. And yeah, I hope that this paper gets published. And yeah, I'm all forth with the AI taking place into making people's lives better.
What a beautiful, beautiful story. Thanks so much for sharing, Gadi. I think that obviously having that personal connection, the story of your father, gives you a real extra motivation, in addition to your passion for AI, to be able to do something in the space of an era that actually had an impact for your life. That makes it extra meaningful, right? And I know many people takes years and years, sometimes over a decade, to complete a PhD. I think you have a really good motivation to get this done sooner rather than later. That's fantastic, and it's such a beautiful example of AI for good, right? Something that we really like to emphasize with the Mindful AI manifesto is all of the areas, all of the fields that AI is already, helping us so much. Really making a contribution to humanity. The many many areas that are, and this I think is a great example, in the healthcare sector, which is really your specialty field. All right. So before we go deeper into the AI side of things, will be good for those watching us live or later to get to know a little bit more about you in a personal level. So shall we do the personal fire questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start very simple. Let's start with your name. How do we pronounce your name correctly?
So my name is actually Arabic, as you can tell. It's pronounced Ghadeer with a ra in the beginning, and I know that many people don't know how to say the ra, so they just go like ga, which is fine, the same. Ghadeer, Ghadeer. And then my last name is Al Ruwaishedi, which is kind of like simple, I hope, but it's kind of
Okay. Let me try. Rodi Arjuishidi. Kind
yes.
of, yes. Having a very difficult surname myself is actually good when to see someone with a really tricky surname. I'm like, I'm not alone, right? But yeah, I understand. So, country that you're born, city or country that you were born, Radi.
So I was born in Libya in Africa. So I'm actually from Iraq, and then we migrated because of the war, and we went to Libya, and then we came to the United Arab Emirates. So basically, I've spent my whole life in the United Arab Emirates, but I was born in Libya.
Okay. Fantastic. First person that we have here that is originally, I mean, from Iraq slash Libya. A favorite meal.
Well, my favorite meal is like an Arabic dish, but I would say burgers for like an international dish.
Burgers. And what about favorite dessert?
Well, I ever since like recently, I've been loving the molten cake, the lava molten cake. It's like chocolate filled inside a cake, and then when you crack the cake, it just oozes out chocolate.
I'm with you. Anything chocolate. Definitely. Favorite music or favorite song?
My favorite music is Arabic music, and then my favorite song is also like an old Arabic song that reminds me of my father. We have a
Mm,
special connection over music.
nice. Lovely. And how do you keep yourself fit mentally and physically? Is there anything that you do on a regular basis to keep yourself, sane and fit?
Well, I would say, like physically, I would say that walking is such an important thing that I do like almost every day, and I try to like keep in some steps just to get my mind off of things and to keep me kind of like moving and relaxed, even if I don't have to do like hard workouts. It's nice to walk. That also contributes to mentally. It's just like a kind of like a meditation kind of thing. But mentally, I would say to keep fit is definitely reading. Reading makes me like gives me motivation to live. Kind of, it gives me like an outlook into different worlds. So I read mostly nonfiction, and it takes me to a different world. It takes me to worlds where I know more, I understand more. So this is kind of like my well-being in my mental state.
Excellent. Thanks for sure. I relate to that as well. If you're not working the tech space, if you're not working in AI with data, what area do you think you'll be working on? What would you be doing?
So I've always wanted to become a singer actually, and like I've had this passion since I was a kid, and like my mom was against it because like kind of like religious reasons and kind of like stereotypical Arab uh, things. So it's like we can't do that, and yeah, it's my passion. I do it when I'm free. But if I wasn't doing my tech things and like I had my mom's consent, I would definitely become a singer.
I think many of us are doing what our parents thought that would be better for us, right? I mean, I'm sure many people can relate to that. But it's lovely that you can do that as a hobby on the side. At least you address that passion somehow. A favorite city, Hadid? Do you have a
My
favorite city?
is Melbourne actually. Melbourne, like it's vibrant. Then people are amazing, and it's great coffee. It's just a very nice vibe. It's a chill place. You walk everywhere. It's very fresh. The air is very fresh. Like Melbourne is the place.
Nice, agree. And last one, a fun fact. I mean, you already shared a couple, right? Wanting to be a singer, and the story about, a couple of things that you shared. But a fun fact about yourself, or something that we cannot find if we look you up on LinkedIn, something that it's not out there.
Well, I do like I have this artistic side. I'm very artsy. I like to look at I like to look at now with data. I like to take it into an artistic kind of point of view also. But in general, I'm a very artsy person. I like to look at things in a perspective that's not subjective. It's I mean not objective. It's a more subjective manner. So that's why I like take in different perspectives and like combine it together. That's something that I like to do. So singing, painting, all of those are like things that make me like look into things in a different way, I hope.
Wonderful. And I'm sure you bring those strengths working, working the left brain kind of sort of area, but you bring those strengths with your right brain. Wonderful. So let's move now talking about AI. That's what we're here for as well. So in our strive for tech-driven efficiency, sometimes do you think we might be overshadowing the core human touch? There was a question a topic that we spoke earlier, and I know that is dear, a topic that is dear to your heart. So, do you think there is, a bit of risk with this strive for tech-driven efficiency? We overshadowing core human, values, core human touch?
Absolutely. Like, I believe that that we are focusing way too much on making the perfect technology. So it's like us, the tech people, we like to, especially in the healthcare section, like I'm just going to talk about the healthcare sector right now. We like to make it such a pretty looking, high accuracy, very efficient kind of technology, where we forget that this is actually for human beings. Like, when I started doing the machine learning algorithms for the heart disease, it started off with me wanting to get the best numbers, and then I kept on looking and striving for the best numbers. But the actual matter, the fact is that the numbers don't matter, the accuracy doesn't matter. What matters is making it clean, making it unbiased, making it understandable, making it more suitable for the provider to understand so that they can use it towards the patient. So it's like we strive and we make it all shiny, we make it all it does this, it does that. And even like big companies right now, they're just looking for the perfection and they're not looking for implementation. Like, we're not intelligently integrating these systems into our lives, into the patient's lives. It's just like we're making it super robotic, we're making it super fancy, we're giving it fancy names, we're giving it shiny looking objects, but it's just not for the real world. It's kind of like fate. That's the best that I can describe it. So it's like it keeps like a huge gap between the patient and the physician and the tech person. So it's like a way where we're just increasing the knowledge gaps between the everyone. Like, the patient doesn't know what's going on, the physician doesn't know what they're giving. So it's just a huge knowledge gap, and that's where I think we're kind of like going into a south direction, because the three of us need to understand, like, this needs to be a trinity, and the three of us needs to understand that this is what we need to do, that we need everyone to understand what's happening, we need everyone to implement it the way it should be implemented, and not like arbitrarily do something just for the technology side of it, to make it more marketed, to make it more commercialized. And that's something that everyone is doing, is just commercializing everything, making it more about money and not about the human value itself. So yes, I also talk about this a lot in my posts. Like, I emphasize that yes, true, we do need these technologies, just like we needed X-rays, and just like we needed MRIs, just like we needed all of these new technologies that the old ones now that we're using to diagnose and to check the, I mean, what the physician uses to check the diseases, and to make sure that these are what's going on. We need this gap to be narrower and narrower, for the physician to actually have more time to spend with the patient using AI, and not using AI completely to eliminate the physician, and to become such a huge gap between the technology and the patient. So that's where I think we need to emphasize. And us, as in like tech people, and like people that are working in these sectors, and well, we write about this stuff, and we talk about this stuff online. and platforms like LinkedIn and platforms like Twitter and all of those, well, we have the ability to change the minds of big companies. We have the ability to talk about what is needed from everyone's perspective, and that's where I think we need to focus more. We need to focus more on making everyone understand what's the actual mission that we're striving for.
Amazing. Couldn't agree more. And Hadi, I think it comes across with your tone, with I know the way you talk that there is a real passion there, and that's something that it's that you truly believe in it. And a couple of things that you touched on. Um, the integration, not creating or implementing technology for the sake of it. And although when I left my career in tech, I was business intelligence, data analytics, but was before AI. But the same applies, right? I mean, if we use analogy for the business, implementing technology for the sake of it without understanding the business needs, there is no point. And I think the same applies to what you described. So the integration and the risk of the knowledge gap between the physician, the patient, and the tech person. Um, and Also your point around influencing and having a voice, and people like you who are in the front line, we're hands-on, the machine learning expert, the data scientists, to have a voice and express their concerns, their needs. I think you guys can really actually influence the large organizations, as you said, especially if you make use of those channels, those platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, and that's what we intend to do with the Mindful AI manifesto next year. Once we start to go having live events, so forum discussions where people like you can meet and realize that you're not alone, and exchange ideas on and action plans on what can be done. Okay, so next question I have for you, it's around the challenges. So in the Mindful AI Manifesto, our website, for those who are not familiar with, we have identified a number of challenges, and I ask you to to think about and share which of those challenges, if any, do you relate the most. So which one comes to mind for you, Hadi, that you kind of agree or maybe disagree? If What are your thoughts when you look at those challenges?
So, one of the challenges that I did resonate with is the one where it's talking about the narrowing of the gaps, and like where we need AI ethics, and like we need to become, like, it needs to be a conversation, and like, yes, there are like frameworks and agreements and all of that, and like we do strive for like the the organizations that are taking part into, like, whether it's the EU regulations or any kind of regulation, like building organization, um, uh, to take place in those. But we, as I said before, we have the ability to like make it a conversation, make it understandable from the side of the tech person, so from the actual companies. Like we can take initiative into making it more ethical. So these are this is the challenge that resonates with me the most, number two, where it's ethics and AI is becoming a mainstream conversation, but frameworks and agreements fall short, describing how particular solutions should adhere. So that's completely correct. Where, as I said, um, we are taking part into like making these technologies, but we are not looking at the ethics and like the need for these technologies. Like in engineering, the first thing that they taught us is, yes, you have the ability to solve problems, but the problems you need to solve are the ones that have a need, that needs to be solved. It's not just any problem. We can just solve any problem, but do people actually need to solve this problem? Because, like, let's say I have a anything, like I need a solution for, but I need a solution for, but then does everyone need a solution for this? That's the question that I need to ask myself. I shouldn't be building solutions that doesn't need like an actual foundation. Like they don't need this. So this is something that I do like resonate with a lot.
Wonderful. Thanks, Hadi. And maybe I think this could be a good segue to this diagram that we spoke briefly about it before. So this is also on our website, and the idea here is just to highlight the fact that yeah, we have national regulations, we have global frameworks, national policies. All of this is work in progress. We're making progress, but there's still a lot of discussion around this. And while all of that is happening in what we call the circle of concern, things that often are beyond our control, there are things that are in the green circle, that is our circle of control, that we can actually take action. So things like the design of the project that you're working on, the code, the things that you have authority to influence. And that's why we say that the Mindful AI Manifesto is it's a grassroots movement, because it's really about empowering people like you, and offering a platform for discussion and encouraging this exchange, so conversations like these can be held.
Yes, for sure. I agree completely. It's something that people like tech people need to understand, and like we need this dialogue to happen, and we need this conversation to occur, with all the companies, with all the tech people. It's not just about numbers. It's not just about making the best. It's not just about doing your job and leaving. It's about human beings at the end of the day. And especially when we're talking about the healthcare sector, it's not about money. It's not about money. It's only about like caring about this patient, essentially. Like if we keep technology, if we're making this whole revolution talks about changing the economy into making it more human based. Like now we care about where our things are sourced from. Now we care about, we have the awareness, we have the internet to look at. We google our symptoms, we google our where we got our beans from, where we got, like we google this stuff. We have the awareness to know where this originated from. So technology came to help us know more about what we're putting in our bodies, how we're taking care of ourselves, how what's the machine or the drug or the medicine or the whatever that we are partaking in. So the technology came to help us and not to destroy us. So now we need this technology, the better technology, the newer technology, to help us more and to make the patient feel more secure and more willing to do, like whether it's like to do these procedures, and to do these, have more trust in the healthcare system overall.
Very, very well said, Hadi. Thank you. So the next question I have, Hadi, is about initiatives. So equally, as I said before, in our website, we also have identified a number of initiatives that we proposing that could be helpful, to address some of those challenges. So these are some of the initiatives. So I'm curious to hear from you if there is any initiative in particular that you relate to, or any that you strongly agree or disagree. So any thoughts on those initiatives would be much appreciated.
Number one is very, like I resonate with that the most. So it's creating bite-sized and accessible information for AI consumers through blogs, events, news. So the aim is to translate. Yes, that's correct. That's very effective. It's to translate technical jargon and key research findings to make the AI conversation like available for everyone to understand. And that's something that I kind of like do in my posts. So I take like huge research, long papers, complicated kind of understandings of kind of like regulations, legislations, all these new news, the ideologies that are kind of like hard to comprehend, and make it into short forms, into a post kind of form, into bullet points where it's easier for the person to digest. Although like a lot of the people that I do have on LinkedIn, are professionals in their fields and they understand this quite well. But anyone can, like, I have multiple people that like these posts and look at these posts that are not part of the healthcare sector, and they do not understand these medical jargons and these technical kind of technical kind of terms, where they find this interesting and they find this relevant, and they find that they want to know more about these kinds of things. And yes, so number one initiative is very comprehensive, and I do resonate with it so much.
Excellent. Thanks, Hadi. So, I guess I was going to mention that later on, but I mean, you mentioned a couple of times, so I think it would be good to just to call that out. So, I'm assuming that anyone who is keen to follow you, they are welcome. Anyone who is keen to learn more about your work or connect with you on LinkedIn, is that a fair assumption, Hadi?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So do reach out to Hadi if you want to talk more or learn more, or just stay in touch with her posts and everything that she's sharing on LinkedIn. Fantastic. So the next question I have a few more questions. I know we're kind of going over time, but it's I think it's for good reason because the content is being great. So thanks for sharing your thoughts so openly, Hadi. The next question that I have is around human values. So I've spoke with a number of machine learning experts and other scientists here, and a question that I often ask to them is that do you think that we can teach AI human values or emotional intelligence? So I had some interesting answers about that, and I might bring up that diagram, which is a bit of a map of universal human values that were mapped by Martin Salomon from the University of Pennsylvania, just as a reference. So um, we know that we can teach AI many things, and depending, as they say, garbage in, garbage out, depending on the quality of the data, we can train models. I mean, that's how much I know as a lay person. But I would love to hear your perspective, Hadid, on do you think it's possible for us to teach AI human values or emotional intelligence?
I do think that AI has a lot of capabilities, and well, we can like intervene and kind of teach it to understand and have kind of like a some kind of emotional intelligence. But I would say that like it wouldn't be 100% sentiment. It wouldn't have this touch, the human touch. The human touch would always like overcome, because like as we can see, like throughout history we've done a lot of things, we've had a lot of revolutions, and we've done a lot of things, yet nothing took over the human. All the animal kingdom couldn't take over the human being. None of the technologies that have been done so far, and there have been a lot of technologies, whether they're released or not, that have been like there, but they haven't taken over the human essence. The human will remain the brain of the operation, but yes, AI has the capability of somehow like understanding complicated things, and like having kind of like an emotional aspect, but it would always remain like a gap between a human and the AI essentially. So I believe that the human would always be superior over any kind of technology that they come up with.
Thank you, Adi. Thank you. So in your LinkedIn profile, one of the hashtags that you talk about is AI ethics. We have other terms that are very popular, like ethical AI, responsible AI, safe AI. I remember when I read Stuart Russell book on human comparable, he was talking after watching his TED talks on safe AI. So safe AI is another popular topic. So when you hear the term mindful AI, what does that mean to you? What mindful AI means to you?
So mindful AI is like a conscious integration, or like a a responsible integration of how AI should be in our lives. So it respects the human being, and it respects the values that the human being like raised. These values and ethics are essential for us to be living in, and like, well, privacy is such a huge issue. So mindful AI would come in play where privacy would remain with the human, and then ethics would remain with the human. And all of these matters do matter when we come to talk about integrating these technologies into our lives. And we're not always giving all of our data out there for arbitrary use. We're actually using it ethically and like responsibly, and this is what we're doing with it. And so it's transparent also. That's something that is essential.
Cool. Agree. And recently, Hadi, you had some, big changes in your life. So you're a very busy young woman, and still you are making the time to talk to us and, kindly, generously donating your time to have discussion here. So I'm assuming that you think the mindful AI movement is important. So the question is, why is that important? Why do you think having these conversations and investing time and energy to come up with the Mindful AI manifesto? Why do you think that's important?
I think it's important because, like, we're all using it, regardless of what sector you're in. We're all using kind of AI to help us with any kind of tasks that we have, whether it's like working in HR, or working in content writing, or working in business, or anything like finance. So we're all using somehow AI now to help us with all of those tasks. It's just the matter of whether you're gonna use it to benefit the greater good, or are you gonna use it for like the evil, or and like, like use it to just eliminate some kind of thing that needs a human to look over. Like, if I put all the data and I use it for the evil, it can do it. It can do it in a very proper way. The AI can do it in a very proper way, but it's gonna be used in a bad way. So we need to have the AI, the mindful AI movement, to make people aware that yes, you can use AI for the good. You can use AI to make your life easier and to get a better outcome at the end of the day.
Fantastic. Couldn't agree more. So thanks, Hadi, for your support. And as you were saying, something that came to my mind was this concept of humans in the loop that Stuart Russell says in his book, Human Compatible. Whenever we have critical solutions or decisions to be made, we need to keep humans in the loop as a safety measure. Because as you said, we don't, AI can develop, can have that discernment and make the good decisions, but it doesn't have the neurochemicals that we have, right? Those, human, the emotions and the human values. We can have that in the logical sense, but the neurochemicals, they will never be available, right? Oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin will never be available in AI. Well, I shouldn't say never, but I think it's unlikely. um, cool. All right. So we are way over time. It's been a brilliant conversation. Maybe the last, very, very final question, Adi, would be: do you have any final message? I already mentioned, people can reach out to you if they want to continue the conversation, connect with you to learn more about your work at Swinburne University or research. Is there any final message, any final thoughts, or a story, a quote, a mantra, anything that you'd like to share before we close for today?
No, it's great talking to you, and it was great having this conversation. I hope that many people have this conversation, and like we can make it a bigger conversation. And yeah, I just strive for the best in integrating these technologies. And thank you again for having me. It's been lovely.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Hadi. And I can't wait to meet you in person because after all, we are both in Melbourne, so that should be easy. And at the latest, early next year, once we have our first face-to-face event of the Mindful AI Manifesto here in Melbourne, which already have a sponsor, so we'll be on the CBD probably February. Yes,
Hopefully.
wonderful.
Well,
All right. So thank you so much, and everyone watching us. See you next time.
thank you. Goodbye. See you.